Hello everyone, I'm going to run you through a Substance Designer tutorial today. Um, it's basically material that I've made for a friend who's going to be using it in future projects. Um, I'll run through the basics of how this material is being made. In future projects, I'll more than likely just make the whole material again, just so it's more easily understandable. But this time around, I'm just going to show you the graph that I've already pre-made, and hopefully this will be nice and easy to follow. I'll be through my explanation. I'll show you the material up, what we'll be making today. Um, it's quite a standard material. It's quite easy to make. It's more than likely been made multiple times before, just different ways. But this is how I've made it myself. So the first thing I've done is make a basic disk shape. Um, it's the standard, all the standard parameters. I've not changed anything in it. Um, I've taken this into a bevel. I've basically done this so I can get a rounded edge. So when taking it into the main material, I can change. I have a height difference. So when bring it into a normal, there's actually something for normal to work with. I've then taken it into a tile generator and changed the image input to the pattern into an image input. This is so that this bevel is then used in this tile generator. I've offset the position of some of the rows just by changing the offset to 0.5. This gives us an alternating pattern of rows. So in this one down here, let me just move this up quickly. Come on. Look at that. So we've got a single row where they're all visible, and then the second row that you've got some half discs that we're going to have to remove. The way that I've removed these is I've taken the bog standard square shape, taken it into Transform 2D, and brought down the shape itself to a rectangle. Um, this is the parameters over here, so I've offset it slightly but on the X and the Y, uh, just so I had to play with this just to get the circles changed. It might be different for you, so it's just just a method of playing with it to get the right blend in this area. I've taken it into a tile generator, X mount 1, so we've only got the one square along the X axis, and then Y 5, so we've got the 5 half circles being changed. This is dependent on how many actual shape circles you have, so it could change from 3 to 60 depending on how you have your Y amount. So easiest way is to do just count the half circles and then just change that in the tile generator here. I then blended them together using Subtract. This basically takes the foreground away from the background, and then I've taken this into Transform 2D. The reason this Transform 2D is here is so that I can change the edge of the actual circles. So in the tile itself, I can then define the edge so I can bring the circles closer together or further away from each other, depending on how big my tile is. I've outputted this and named it to a dot alpha, and I'll use this in the main material graph in a minute. I then also made the basic shape of the tile just by taking a brick again, bringing the scale slightly down so we get this black edge, and then beveling that edge to round it off slightly. Um, it is a very small distance on it, so I can only just get an edge on it, and I'm using an angular corner type, so it's more of a sharp edge. And then outputting this again to a tile alpha. So what I've done here, this is the main graph. I've brought the original graph just by dragging it into here, and that outputs the two outputs that we made, so the dots and the tiles. The first thing I've done is I've made the normal map. So I've taken the dot alpha, putting it into a normal, and I've taken the tile alpha and put that into a normal, and then combining them for a normal combine. Taking the the dot normal into the top normal 2 and the tile into the normal 1. Doesn't really matter which way around you put it, because it will work its way around just by combining them. At this point, the normal was quite bland. So you had the circles and you had the tile. So if I take away these normal combines, so if I just put this normal combine into the normal, it's very bland. You don't get much definition of anything. You don't get any sort of idea of what the material might actually be. So what I had to do is combine it with some sort of noise. So down here, I've taken a fractal sum 1 or fractal sum, whichever one way you want to go around it. There's different types. So if you go into fractal, you can go sum 1, sum 2, and these are just different patterns basically. I've taken this into a levels, and I've narrowed down the actual greys on the actual fractal sum. So there's going to be less grey, there's more just black and white. This just defines the actual areas that I want to make into a material and puts it into a blend for me. So on this blend, I've actually just got a grey colour here, and I'm just copying it onto the blend and then using that through a normal. This normal looks a little bit different because I've actually just taken the alpha with the input. So I'm just taking away the background color. This is just so I can see what is actually going to be a normal on here. I've then combined this with the original tile normal combine, and so on this one, if you look here, this is what that brings in to the normal. Let's put this back to where it was. So this was still looking a bit bland because that's just going to be like areas that are not worn away. I want to make it look a bit more like rubber. So I've taken a white noise, taken this into a histogram scan to blend the colours to more of a grey, and then I've taken this into a normal here. I've actually got this normal set down quite low because I only want it to be subtle. I don't want it to be in your face, and it's actually worked out quite well because, as you can see, there's little detail in the actual texture which makes it look a little bit more like a rubber plastic sort of type of material. I then combined it with the other normal combine to get my final normal, and then outputted this into my normal channel. And this is what the normal brought in. It actually looks quite nice. It's not the best you can do. If I spent more time on it, I reckon I could make it look a little bit more like rubber, but I think this would work out for what I needed. The next space was to get my height map. This was a bit easier than making a normal because all I did was taking a height blend, plugged the dot channel into height bottom, taking the tile itself into height top, and brought the offset down. So the offset, basically, it will give you a choice of how much of a difference you want between the two heights. So I brought it down to roughly about 0.3, and it gives me quite a nice height difference on the actual tile. I did just try taking a blend from both of the materials, from the dot alpha and the tile alpha, but I wasn't getting much of a height difference between them. So I tried it this way, and it actually worked out quite well. So I do get quite a bit of a definition between the level between the tiles, and also the actual circles itself. And then I just put it straight into the height map. That actually worked quite well. For the roughness, I've taken the blend that we use for the normal and taken it into another blend with a uniform color and brought it down to grey. This is so we can get some shiny patches on the actual material. As you can see, if we move it, you get light bouncing off areas more than some areas. This makes it look like pieces are worn down more. Their shininess, their like brand new shininess has gone down a little bit. It's a bit like scuffing areas and like that. Metallic, we don't want this metal because this is supposed to be rubber, so we just left it as black. You don't even have to have this in here because it will just define as black straight off the bat. For some reason I've got two roughness maps. So let's take that one away because I preferred that one. And last thing to do was the diffuse map. So I've taken both of the alphas again and separated them and used uniform color as a blend to change what color I wanted them. You can change these to two different things. I've just chosen grey at the moment, but you can change these to whatever color you would want. Then I've blended them both together. This will give us our base color. So if I take this into the output, you only get those colors. So we want to define the areas that are more shiny. We want to make them a little bit darker. So what I did is I took it into another blend into the foreground. I've taken the roughness down here. So if I check that, and taking the roughness, used it as the opacity mask, and then just giving it a color. This will make the areas from the blend. So this blend we don't need. We can actually take it from this roughness here. So what it will do is it will take this blend, use that as an opacity mask. In this blend, it will use that opacity mask and make that area black. And then once that's in the base color, the areas that are shiny look more shiny even when light's not bouncing off of them because they are black. So that's the basic material. It can get a bit overwhelming in substance with how you lay it out. So the best way to do is to lay it out in a way that you will remember where things go. You can always just click on the graph connections to find where it goes to, but sometimes once you have bigger graphs, they can become quite overwhelming with how many of these lines there are. So the way I usually like to do it is to add a frame and just name areas. So this would be my diffuse area. This would be this here would be my height and normal. Let's bring these out because they should be in there. And then down here, this is the stuff that is not too relevant, but you can name them. So this would be my roughness. Metallic, you don't really need to worry about because it's just the two nodes. And then that's just the alphas for this area in here. So that's the tutorial. Let me know what you thought about it. Anything that I need to change on my methodology. I'm going to put two materials up now. Something else that I've made. If you want me to go over either of them, just let me know, and I'll try and make a tutorial as fast as possible for them. If there's anything that you need help with in Substance, give me a shout. I'll get the notification on my phone and have a look into it when I'm free. I do work quite a bit, so it might take me a while to get back to you, but I will try and get back to you. And that's it. So leave a comment down below on what you would want, and I'll have a look into it. Bye.